What's up, YouTube? It's Kenny again. I know it's been a while since I made a video, but I've been waiting to get a chance to go in and do a bunch of stuff to this van. If you're just finding the channel, please hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave me a comment below. To those of you who have been here for a while, like and comment. So I took 2 weeks off, which is the longest amount of time I've taken off since I've been back on the road these last 4 years. And although I'd like to say it felt really good to take that much time off, I busted my ass and worked the whole time. The fraternal order that I belonged to was moving into a space in Plano, so me being the deputy, or what's basically the vice president of the local chapter, I organized it all. So on the Thursday when I went in, met up with a bunch of people. We went to Keller and picked up stuff from storage and moved it over. And then Friday, I did some stuff pertaining to the van. And then Saturday and Sunday was spent up at the space painting and doing a bunch of make-ready stuff. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I worked on the van. And anyway, so I took a bunch of clips of progress, and I'm finding that it's very difficult to film myself working on the van by myself. So they're mostly just like, hey, here's some stuff I got done, here's what I got done, here's progress report, etc. And I'm going to paste those clips in as we go here. First, I want to talk about the process of getting the title changed over and getting the license plates and tagged and all that stuff, because it ended up being a huge runaround. First of all, the tires had to be addressed. Okay, the front tires are basically brand new tires. They're BF Goodrich KO2s, which is what I'd planned to put on it. Okay. And looking at tires have a code on them that tells you when they were made. And according to that, the tires are only 2 years old. They were manufactured in 21. And the van has not been tagged and inspected since 21. So it had to have been brand new tires put on it and then basically just parked for 2 years. But the back tires were the original KOs. So those, they haven't even made those in like 10 years. And they were all dry rot looking and stuff. And so I had already gotten the title switched over. I did that the first day I was there. I drove my Yukon to get that done. All the way in Kaufman, which is 2 hours from Denison where I was staying, where the van is located. So I got the title done, and then we did the make-ready stuff on the space. And then, so anyway, I was going to take the van and get it inspected, and I was going to get the tires done first. Well, I had a blowout on one of those back tires on the way to get the tires done. And I'm way out in Van Alstyne, and so there's no place that will come to me to do the tires. And the spare, like, I'm worried about the spare just as much. I might just change to that old ass spare, which is likely older than the tires, and then just have another blowout. So I was trying to get somebody to come to me, and nobody would come to me. So I ended up doing a typical Kenny move and just bribing somebody. I called a bunch of places, and then the one that, I finally was like, look, man, I need somebody to come to me. How much will it take to get you to come to me? I'll give you $300. Just come out here and put a used tire on here. And so he came out there, cost me $300. Then I went to the tire shop, spent another over $500 on the two back tires, so that cost me about $800. Of course, now I'm not complaining. This money that I've been saving is set aside for that. It's set aside for me to get all this stuff done to the van and get it in good shape. So got that done. Went all the way to Kaufman from Denison, and the van wouldn't pass inspection. So the reason it didn't pass inspection is because a certain module wasn't kicking on. And I know a lot of you guys don't know much about cars, but like when a battery has been dead for an extended period of time, which when I came in, the battery was dead. There's some kind of parasitic draw or something. When a battery's been dead for an extended period of time.
Attention, an important message follows. You have received.
What happens is all the computer modules in the vehicle shut down, and there's a certain series of events that has to occur before they kick back on. And when I went to have it inspected, I had pretty much turned it on, ran it to charge the battery back up. I shut it off for a few minutes, turned it back on just to make sure the battery was charged up, and then it didn't shut down again until I got to the inspection place, more or less. And so those modules had not had a chance to turn back on yet, and that's why it failed inspection. Anyway, so I went through that whole process, and it failed inspection. So I then drove the van on Saturday and Sunday, because when I got the title done, I got a little temporary tag to give it a chance to do all that while we did painting and everything like that at the space. And then on Monday, I went and it passed inspection, okay? And I got everything done. Now, I also, during this process, they had said it would be okay for me to have it done in Grayson County, which is where Denison is. So I thought I was going to avoid driving 2 hours back to Kaufman again. I went and I got it inspected in Grayson County, and then I went up to the courthouse or whatever to get it all done, and they wouldn't do it. They said that initial registration had to be done in the county that it's titled in. So I ended up having to drive all the way to Kaufman and get that done, but it did get done. The van is now insured, has license plates, tags. It's all legal now. Now, after that, I started on the repairing the leak. During the process of being at the space, doing all the painting and stuff, a buddy of mine, we're on the second floor and there's a balcony, and a buddy of mine were sitting there looking at the van and noticed that one of those running lights that I thought was going to be the culprit was cracked almost all the way through. And so at that point, I knew that I didn't have to do all the testing I had planned to do. That was definitely where the leak was. So that was the first thing I tackled. I'll post in a clip here and basically show you what I did to repair it. So I should have filmed this, but I didn't. So what's happening here is this marker light was what was leaking, and it's cracked all the way. This is what's leaking. Now, I couldn't find a replacement. I found some that were close, but the bolt holes were wrong. So what I did was I removed this one. I mixed up some epoxy, and I coated the crack with epoxy. I put tape on the bottom and filled that gap in really good with epoxy. It's not quite set yet. It's hard to see on camera, but the crack is full of epoxy. I had tape on the bottom to hold it straight. And that will not leak anymore. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this silicone. It's high temperature gasket material stuff, and I'm going to put it on here before I put it back on. I've already sanded the spot a little bit, enough to hold it. The light will not work, but it won't leak anymore. I'll go ahead and show you the spot where it was. So these are not like other lights that I have been looking at, and it wasn't just really glued on there. I don't know if the guy put it on there or if it must have been something somebody did. So I don't know how well you can see that, but I cut the wires, sanded it off, cleaned it off, and now I'm just gonna silicone it back on, screw it back down. It still won't work, but it will stop the leak. And then at some point later, I will replace them with different ones when I can find some that fit right. And then today I'm going to start with the sanding on the top of the van. That should take care of the leak. I'm going to get these racks off and start getting this rust sanded. So yeah, I epoxied it all up, siliconed it, put it back on. I tightened the other ones down. I do believe I'm going to remove the other ones and go ahead and silicone underneath them just to make sure that they won't leak again. I'm at one of the world's largest truck stops right now. I had looked everywhere for replacements that would fit to just go ahead and replace all those running lights, and I couldn't find one. And I thought for sure I would find one here. They got a whole like 4 rows of just lights at this place, but no such luck. So I haven't exactly decided what I'm going to do. I may just take the other 4 off and silicone underneath them and screw them back down and just have one that doesn't work for a while. But so then I continued on once I got that done, and I finished the sanding on the top. I sanded the whole top. It pretty much took me a whole day to get it all sanded. I cleaned it all up, washed it, taped it off, and then I wiped it down real good with acetone to make sure there was no oils or anything on it. And I then coated it with the rust product, and I'll post those clips in now. You can see those little updates, and here they are. Starting to get some sanding done. Got that running light reinstalled. It's all epoxied and silicone down. Starting to do some sanding. The Eastwood stuff that I've got, you can put it right over the rust, so that's plenty good enough. Put that Eastwood on here and hopefully spray some paint on it before I am done with it this session. That's where I'm at. So here it is, all sanded. Taped off and ready to brush on the Eastwood product. It's been sanded, it's been cleaned, washed, and then wiped down with acetone. The whole top. Kind of took my time, and it more or less took me all day. I'll be putting this Eastwood Rust Encapsulator Platinum on it. It's supposed to be a fantastic product. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to wait for the sun to go down a little bit, cool off. It's about 97. Not really supposed to put it on when it's that hot, so I'm going to let it cool off some. Put it on, probably tape it off and shoot some paint on it in the morning. Alright guys, so it's the next morning. I brushed all of the rust encapsulator on last night. Didn't finish till it was dark. I waited till the last minute because it was hot. And yeah, she's ready to paint. This Eastwood stuff gives you about a 48-hour window to shoot paint on it without having to sand it. But yeah, got all the rust covered on the top. And that's where we're at. So with that done, the leak was fixed and the rust had been dealt with. All right. Now, I got a chance to look at the van really good this time and drive it quite a bit. Underneath, when I had the tires done, I got a chance to look at all the suspension and everything really well, and it all looks to be in good shape. The shocks, even though they're aftermarket really nice shocks, they have some little rust spots on them, so they sat for quite some time or they've been on there longer than a lot of the other stuff. But they function really well, and the rest of it up under there, besides a little surface rust on the frame and stuff, which is to be expected, like the floor pan and stuff like that in there has no rust. There's no rust pretty much anywhere else, and other than that top, although it's missing a lot of paint, that paint that's missing is just the paint flaking off of the primer. So the primer is still there. There's no rust anywhere on the van except for that top. Now that's been dealt with, the leak's been fixed. The plan was to paint the van or paint the top over the rust encapsulator, because that stuff gives you about a 48 hour window after you put the rust encapsulator on to paint it and not have to sand it down before you paint it to scuff it, you know. But it rained, and I just didn't get a chance to get it done, which is fine. It doesn't even really have to be done, but I took a little clip of that, and I'll pop that in here. Yep, well, I would say that no painting's going to get done. We're about to have to hoist the mizzen mast in this motherfucker because it's about to calm down. Batten down the hatches, motherfuckers. I just pulled all the plastic off of it and put all my tools and paint and shit away. Missed some tape up there on the top, but it's whatever. I got time. The rust is dealt with. The leak is fixed. The paint can wait. Yeah, the power's out. Power went out over here at my friend's house where I'm at. It's not nearly as bad as it was. It was just blowing. I mean, you see the blanket there is pulled up, and this one's, it picked a tarp up and drew it all the way in the front yard. Trash cans in the street. So yeah, but like I say, I got the rust sanded, got it rust treated, got the leak fixed. We'll work on inspection tomorrow. Maybe do some stuff with the tires. And that's where we're at. So, you know, on top of that, I got a lot of other small stuff done. While the tires were being done, I didn't just replace those back tires. I also I had the front tires dismounted, flipped, and remounted because I like to see the white lettering. A lot of people don't do that anymore, but I like that. So I had them flipped to show the white lettering, cleaned that all up. Got the brand new ones on the back, white lettering out. And during that process, I bought brand new lug nuts for the whole thing all the way around, changed those, had those changed. I also had all the valve stems changed in the Ford tires. I even bought some little chrome spiked valve stem caps and put them on there. I did notice some pitting on the brake rotors on the front, so it's possible I might have those done, but they're still fine. Then, so after all that was done, I cleaned the van up real good. I took it to a car wash and sprayed it down, and man, that paint was just coming off even more. You can tell that it's just sat up for quite some time. And the engine bay was nasty, and I cleaned up the underside of the hood and cleaned up the engine bay with some degreaser, and I got to looking down inside of there, and man, I really think I got a stellar deal on this van. I truly believe that somebody, right before they sat it for 2 years, had a bunch of stuff done to this thing, because like after I clean the engine bay, I like shine a flashlight down in there, and like it's got a brand new radiator hose. It still has the cardboard sleeve on it that says AC Delco, and like when you look at the alternator and all that stuff, it's like shiny metal. It's not like old and nasty. Everything looks nice and shiny, and yeah, there's definitely going to be some stuff that needs to be replaced, but I feel really good about it. I mean, it runs so smooth and good. I did get a little bit of a check engine light one night after I ran some experiments and did a bunch of idling that day with it, but the next morning when I got up, I was going to take it to AutoZone and have them read the code, and it had cleared itself, and it didn't show back up the rest of the time. If it comes back, I'll buy myself a scanner. That way I can read the code on it myself when it's actually occurring, because you can't pull a code on it if it's not an active code, and since it cleared itself, there's no point in trying to read it. But if you have your own scanner, then if it comes on, you can check it right then, you know. So I got another clip here of, I just like, well, during the process of cleaning it, I did a walk around and talked a little bit, and I'll pop that in right here. Well, I'm out here cleaning on it today. I'll do a little video cleaning the engine bay a little bit. Got the tires flipped, white walls out on the front. I did find out that these tires were only 2 years old. The back ones, however, were all wore out and actually had a blowout on the way to the tire shop. Replaced them. Bridgestone KO2s all the way around. Obviously we still got the, see if I can do something here. Obviously we still got the paint issues. I may or may not even fix. The hood's the worst part, really. I've washed the outside a little bit at the car wash, but I'm about to give it a good wash. Yep. That's what $4,000 will get you if you wait and be patient until the right thing comes along. Start it up, let you hear it run. I did that before, but it was a lot of dinging involved. She starts right up. Super smooth, no knocks, no dings, no ticks, no misses. Transmission fluid is nice and red, oil's nice and clean, windshield washers work. It must have sat for a very long time because there was just shit just caked in here and up in the gutters, like leaves and sticks and shit. There's still a bunch of them in here. This stuff was everywhere. It had to have sat for a long time. Got the air conditioning serviced while I was out, so the AC is nice and cold, front and rear. She's dirty right now. Got a bunch of shit that I bought all over the place, and still haven't vacuumed or anything on the inside, but I did some tests. And closed up all the curtains, sat in the direct sunlight and idled with the AC going. I could have took a nap. It was 106 degrees outside and I was in direct sunlight, and I could have took a nap back there. It was probably 75, 74. It was wasn't in the 60s or anything, but it was comfortable enough I could have taken a nap. Yeah, feeling pretty good about it. I'm gonna wash the outside again real good with a hand pad and soap this time instead of just at a car wash. And I'm gonna be in the van. I'm gonna swap all my stuff over, kind of figure out what tools I want to keep and what I'm going to do with that situation. Load this one up, and I'll be in this. It's all legal now, insured, license plates, stickers, everything. Everything works. Everything seems to work still. I did get a check engine light last night, and I was going to go pull the code and see what was going on, but it cleared itself this morning. It must just because I idled it so much yesterday. And you know, I drove 50 miles after it came on, and it still drove exactly the same. So it was probably some kind of little emissions component setting it off or something. We'll see. If it does it again, I'll buy myself a scanner so that when it does it and it's on, I can check and see what the code is. I'm considering breaking my rule, which is you never have it worked on at the dealer. I'm considering taking this into Chevrolet and telling them, look, I want you to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, change whatever needs to be changed, or at least give me a price, you know, and look at all the rubber and you know, tubing and hoses and all that kind of stuff. Make sure there's no dry rot going on under there. Have a look at the suspension, you know, run it on the whatever machines they got, and see what they would do to it and how much it would cost. It's almost 100,000 miles, so it needs a 100,000 mile service anyway, whatever that really consists of on this. Probably plugs and fuel filter and some stuff that doesn't normally get changed. Some cars, they do a timing belt. This doesn't. This, I believe, has a timing chain, and I don't think they do that with timing chains, but I'm not positive. So yeah, just a little update. I'm going to patch all this stuff together. So I'll see you. So yeah, guys, I feel like I got a lot of stuff accomplished during this trip. There's still a lot more to be done, and we have not even begun to address the inside and things like that. I did get like a steering wheel cover. I bought a NOCO jump starter. That's just one of those peace of mind type things, and it worked really well. I bought it and used it when the battery was dead when I first got in. It worked really well. It's lithium ion. Should stay charged up for like 6 months, and you just every 6 months you top it off. I bought a whole big set of Ryobi tools so that I have power tools, and used them for the sanding, and I'll have everything I need to do the build once we get around to messing with the inside. I'm likely, next time I'm in, I'm gonna take it somewhere and have it really just looked over with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that there's no dry rot in any of the vacuum lines and hoses and tubing and stuff, any of the rubber components, and have it just scrutinized to see if a mechanic can find anything in there that they think should be changed and get that done. Yeah, I'm gonna like I've said this several times, but the mechanical aspect is first. I want to make sure that it's really mechanically sound, and then we'll start worrying about building on the inside of it. And that's where we're at. So this is kind of episode 1, but there's a lot more to come. And for those of you that are just finding the channel, like over the next 6 months to a year, I'm out here on this road 6 to 8 weeks at a time. So progress will be slow, but when I'm in, I have a feeling lots of stuff is going to get done. And I don't think, like with the condition that it seems like this vehicle is in, I don't think that the mechanical stuff is going to be as extensive as I initially felt like it would. We'll just have to see. So again, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, and leave me a comment below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.